Good evening. This is Executive Vice President of Exclusive Annuities, Brady Pelzer here. Wanted to hop on the Zoom call this evening to talk about my favorite accumulation option that is available in the indexed annuity marketplace, Athene's AccuMax 7. Dive into that deeper, why I believe it is the best growth-based proposition in the fixed indexed annuity marketplace. We'll dive into that here in just a moment. But prior to, if you are new and unfamiliar, again, my name is Brady Pelzer, Executive Vice President, Exclusive Annuities. You can find us at exclusiveannuities.com. Right here's our website on the screen. Better retirement, better you. That is what we do. Anything retirement based, any questions, considerations, clarifications, anything that you are looking to have answered or have a better understanding of, a better grasp of as you enter retirement or as you presently navigate your retirement, feel free right here on our website. You can book a call, book an appointment with William. You can also book a strategy review session with myself right here, William, founder and president of Exclusive Annuities, my business partner, and then again, myself. Our links right here. You click on a strategy review with William. You can pick a time, fill out your information, and then all the way down here, it'll populate right here. Just type this in for us real quick. That is not a robot. Confirm appointment. You'll get reminders as well as a link to the Zoom itself. Also, check out our YouTube. This is just one example of a number of videos. We're always looking to produce more and more content, help navigate retirement, help those that we work with, our clients, understand what options are available to them, as well as what options may be in their best interest, may be most efficient for what they're looking for in retirement. Also, right here, client engagement process. We certainly utilize a unique approach here at Exclusive for all of your retirement needs. And without further ado, diving into the topic at hand, the Athene AccuMax 7. This contract is my favorite contract in the annuity marketplace. I believe it provides for the most growth opportunity across the landscape. And I get it right here. It's hard to identify what specific vehicle is in your best interest, and even harder to identify the specific product within that vehicle to go with. So once we've identified that an indexed annuity is appropriate for your financial profile, and my opinion, some indexed annuity exposure in retirement is appropriate for everybody, whether we're looking for accumulation, whether we're looking for income, if we're looking for a pillar to place an asset within as part of a distribution model. I believe indexed annuity exposure is good news on the accumulation side. If you put your monies toward an indexed annuity, think of it from a broader portfolio standpoint rather than a bond or money market position. We have more aggressive growth opportunity with the same preservation as a safe money vehicle. Any indexed annuity, the AccuMax here on this call today included, any indexed annuity is going to offer you principal protection. Again, Any negative year in an indexed design, you will be credited zero. The proverbial zero is our hero. As much as I hate to say it, as cliche as it is oftentimes in these indexed accounts, zero is the hero. If we have a negative year, you will not go backward. And we will dive into that on the product proposal illustration. However, prior to diving into that, where exactly are your monies going to be allocated? If you decide to go with the AccuMax in your life, first option, and a very glaring option at that, the S&P 500. This is the S&P outright, no volatility control included on this allocation. It's set on a 7-year term. Dive into the benefits or potential benefits of a 7-year term a little later on down in this video. However, this index, what that means is that no earnings will be credited or posted for 7 years. This is a 7-year run, a park it, let it sit situation. If we're looking at implementing a distribution strategy in your retirement plan, the AccuMax is not going to be your best fit, your best choice. However, if we have quote unquote mailbox money, or we're looking for a more aggressive alternative to our bond holding in the portfolio, this is a great option. As well as, and we'll dive into it a little bit later down the line as well, Roth conversions. If we think about the advantages of a 7-year index term, we'll bookmark that for now, but certainly pick it back up here in just a moment. 95% upside exposure. In this contract, if we went 100% allocation towards the S&P 500, you will be a 95% participant in the S&P's growth for the next 7 years. The advantage of that is if we have a serious correction and we go through a recession or even a depression, is that you are protected, your principal in that circumstance. And if the S&P 500 is positive during this time frame, 7 years, we're only sacrificing a small portion of the earnings. 95% participation, what that's saying is if the index did 10%, you would earn 9.5%. If the index did 20%, you would earn 19%. You are a full uncapped participant in the S&P 500's earnings. 95% of those earnings, sacrificing that little bit for principal protection. These other index allocations we can choose from, again, 7-year term, AI-powered multi-asset index. We'll dive into that one a little later on the road as well. Again, 7-year term, Shiller, and that is Robert Shiller, Nobel Prize winning economist. He was one of the first individuals or proverbial money heads to enter the index marketplace, design an index algorithm for these carriers. We'll dive into that indices design later on down the road as well. We have our 7-year on a different crediting method. There's a separate video that goes into further detail about those different crediting methods, the traditional and what I would suggest based on historical information, the most optimal crediting strategy point to point. This is the same S&P 500 exposure, just rather than point to point, we have the annual interval sum. And again, There's a separate video on our YouTube page. Subscribe, like. On our YouTube page, there is a separate video discussing participation rates, cap rates, spreads, if applicable, as well as these different crediting methods, point to point, the traditional, the tried true, annual interval, as well as some of our monthly crediting strategies. But staying on topic here with the Athene AccuMax, we have the 7-year annual interval, some S&P 500 index, and not going to dive too deep into this index today. This is not as strong a proposition, in our opinion, at exclusive as the outright S&P on a point-to-point basis. Again, the other video will go into further detail pertaining to exactly why. However, staying on topic, we then also have the 1-year strategies for the AI powered and the Schiller Barclays Cape Allocator 6 Index. The Cape there, keep that in mind. We'll revisit here in just a moment as well. This is Athene's website. A small reason, never want to be putting our money with an institution in a specific strategy based on the feel of the site, but it is an added benefit when the site is easily accessible as well as easily mobile for our clients. This is a very clean site. Here, entering the illustration software, going to run an example value client, age of 65, male, in the state of Nebraska. We'll go ahead and utilize non-qualified funds for this example. They do accept qualified and non-qualified, your cash as well as your IRAs. 65, Nebraska, non-qualified. We'll set it at 500,000. And to give you an example, this is what we oftentimes practically suggest to our clients in terms of allocation. What should we allocate into? 50% towards that S&P, and then the other 50% of the portfolio allocated towards those volatility proprietary indices, volatility controlled indices. No withdrawals. Again, this model, the AccuMax, is not built, designed for distribution. We'll dive into that a little bit later in the video as well. However, this situation, if we go into this video thinking either Roth conversion or parking the asset and letting it sit, we have our other distribution assets in place within the overall financial strategy. This is the ideal product. Park, let it sit, or on a Roth conversion basis. And we'll populate this illustration. All right. First page, just saying the information. Again, 65, male, state of Nebraska, non-qualified funds, 500,000. Showing here again, we have 50% portfolio weight towards the S&P, the other 50% split amongst the AI powered and the Schiller. Same participation rates we referenced earlier. Showed you the S&P 95%. The reason why we like to sprinkle in these volatility controlled indices on the AccuMax is right here. We're getting more than 4 times earnings on the index, my friends. More than 4 times earnings. At the very least, if we want to go 100% towards the S&P, we never want to do more than 50%. At least us here at Exclusive, our planning philosophy is at least 50% towards the S&P as our steady placeholder. Even if it's not steady, what I mean by that is that it's easily understandable. The S&P is the S&P is the S&P. These volatility controlled indices can get a little confusing in terms of how exactly they're designed, what their target is, because there's an algorithm behind it. We can always do more towards these volatility controlled proprietary indices rather than the S&P. It shows generally the recommendation suggestion from Willie and myself, as well as any other advisor you may meet with here at Exclusive, that a strong portion, at least 50%, allocated towards what we know, the black and the white. Going down, here's our guaranteed. So again, the zero is our hero philosophy. These zeros in the broader marketplace are more than likely negative years. What this is really reflecting is a depression. It is a depression in and of itself. It would be past the recession. This is a depression. I always joke with clients, and I only half joke. If this were to play true, I'd be living in Switzerland. Also, if this were to play true, you would be happy you're in an indexed account because this 500,000 is still 500,000 rather than this 500,000 turning into all of a sudden 250,000. If you double this, turn 500,000 into a million, yeah, that's nice, but retirement odds are doesn't look, feel much different. Now, if you take half your nest egg, the 500,000 divided in half, that 500 turns into 250. That's when, if you sit back and think about it, retirement starts to look and feel a little bit different. So at the very least, on a guaranteed basis, we're able to offer the portfolio the safeguard portion, the placeholder, if you will. Now, on the growth, why it's more efficient than a bond, just an example as well. Growth capabilities. You see the 194. So it's 500,000 again, earnings, not posting nor locking at any one juncture or any juncture through the 7 years of the contract. Those earnings are just continuing to go, continuing to go, continuing to go until end of year 7. All of those earnings are credited to you and your account. Where are these numbers derived from? Back tested the last 10 years. So this is based on the index performance for the most recent 10 calendar years, repeating every 10 years for each of the elected strategies and the corresponding indices. So this ledger is showing the most recent performance of the S&P, the AI powered, and the Shiller weighted exactly the same with today's crediting strategies, the 95%, the 440, and the 465. Now, another reason we really like the AccuMax model, believe it is a bona fide value proposition for clients looking for that bond alternative in a park it, let it sit situation, is because of this right here, the guarantee. Minimum guaranteed participation rate. Current participation rate, it's identical, the same, it's mirrored. That is not always the instance with these designs. The reason why this is guaranteed across the board is because we have it set on a 7-year index. These carriers, they're able to renew this crediting rate. They're able to increase it or, and more often than not, decrease it generally on an annual basis. It depends on the term of the index. So if this were a 1-year S&P 500 strategy, you wouldn't be getting near 95%. participation, the best 1 year participation on the S&P presently is 60%. But on a 1 year basis, that 60% could, in the second contract year, be lowered to 55, 50, all the way down. It depends on the carrier, the specific product, the specific index. But this minimum guaranteed common language for a participatory strategy, a participation-based strategy, common guarantee language in these contracts is a minimum participation rate of at least 10%. Quite a significant dip from the 95 we see here. But again, this is the AccuMax. We don't need to concern ourselves with renewal rate risk, a risk unique to the annuity space. Locked in, so we're never seizing control of that component. Oftentimes in those traditional 1 year setups, we're seizing a portion of our control on that asset because the carrier, again, has discretion to lower that crediting rate. Here in the AccuMax, no concern. We're locked in 95% for all 7 years, 440% for all 7 years, 465% for all 7 years. Going down, this was the most recent performance projection. This ledger would show, again, the most recent. That 194 is identical. So on the far left-hand side here, we have, again, the most recent, which we can see on the previous page, 194.66. We have the highest, taking the 10 highest years out of the most recent 20 years, 256. So if things are peaches and cream, this historic bull run continues to torch. But we also have the lowest 10 years out of the most recent 20-year history, 144. And again, anything projection based, this is a common mantra across the videos that you may be seeing on the YouTube page. Anything on the illustration, anytime a financial practitioner such as myself or any rep at Exclusive Annuities shows you projection based figures, it's going to be based on back tested history. Keep in mind here, historic bull run, the longest bull run in our country, our market's history. That's where we're deriving these numbers off of. So anything that we present to you here on this video, any video in a strategy review session, take the projections with a grain of salt. If we really key in on, hammer down the concept, assess the proposition, the components to the projection. What I mean by that is what goes into this 194.66%. That would be these allocations. And then we've got to take it just a step further. That was the most recent performance or back-tested history of these allocations. Other side of the fence, past does not always predict the future. When we forecast, do we see past performance repeating itself or being more likely to repeat itself? Or do we see as though that index has seen its best days? That's all part of our process, our client engagement strategy review process here at Exclusive Annuities. Again, the AccuMax, great proposition. The numbers on the projections are great. If you tell me I'm going to have 194.66% return in 7 years, I'd say yes. But again, take it with a grain of salt based on the most recent cycle, Past performance does not necessarily predict future performance, but the proposition in and of itself. That's where we zero in on, again, the S&P 500. If we think about this from a practical standpoint, my friends, 100% participant is what the broader market is. You're 100% participant in the downs. You're 100% participant in the growth. Ebbs and flows. That's what the market's designed to do. It's designed to be a roller coaster. Time value of money and sequence of returns. Those are the concepts to look at. Time value of money, time horizon. In the market, you can take on that risk, the roller coasters, the ebbs, the flows, because you have time to make up for losses. If you're in a pre-retirement state or already retired, you will now know that that isn't the scenario, that time gap, that time window has shrunk and it's almost closed. That's why I say everybody should have at least a portion of their portfolio allocated towards indexed strategies. Let's provide some certainty on those ifs that we have when we approach and think retirement. Now that we have the AccuMax, a good understanding with the product illustration, again, as I had referenced earlier in the video, dive into some of these product details a little more thoroughly. Again, qualified and non-qualified monies, as well as Roth monies, are applicable in this contract. 10% free withdrawals are available. That would be the greater of the accumulated value or the initial premium. In the AccuMax, if we utilize the 7-year strategies, that's going to be the same, your initial premium and your accumulated value, because no earnings are posting or locking until the end of the term. Now, want to show you that same illustration, but with withdrawals. Why this is not a strong distribution option. If we take that 500,000, say that we take 50,000 out, we decide that in the third year of the contract, we need excess liquidity. We decide that the AccuMax is the bucket that we want to pull from. All right. Now, let's keep this proposal in mind. I'm going to put it aside for just a moment. This withdrawal is occurring in the third contract year. These are just cumulative. So one withdrawal for $50,000 in the third contract year. This is the guaranteed ledger. Let's go down to the non-guaranteed. Our ending value is 1.325 million. Now, third year, we pull 50,000. 1.325 is what we end up with. Going to run the same example, just taking that distribution in the fourth contract year. Same thing, except different year. Rather than the third year, we pull from the fourth year, 1.325. Now, if we just run this proposal at 450,000, we didn't even put that 50,000 in there initially. Voila, the same account value at the end of the day. Any distribution from your AccuMax contract, it's as good as though that money was not ever there to begin with. Again, if we go through the distributions, this is why it's a park and let it sit situation or a Roth conversion vehicle. We do not want to place funds in the AccuMax that we would have to access within the next 7 years. We need 7 years of growth for the AccuMax to function most optimally. Now, just pulling off to the side here, an example of this Roth conversion that we recently ran for a couple clients of exclusive annuities, a couple in the state of Massachusetts, $180,000 gross W-2 household income. And these models, the disclosure will tell you here, we are not tax professionals nor employ tax professionals at exclusive annuities. My background, I have a bachelor's in finance and economics. And so these models are simply meant for our clients as a template, and we work in correlation, in coordination with their CPA to most effectively implement a Roth conversion strategy. Here, we have the AccuMax run on 3 different examples. This same 500,000, and we'll jump right back to it. Ran it on 750 and $1 million. 500,000, since that is relevant to the illustration, the proposal that we just looked at. 500,000, $180,000 household W-2 income. Big thing on Roth conversions, we're balancing the AGI and the conversion amount. So as you can see, conversion amount 150, W-2 income 180. These conversions are taxable as ordinary income when you convert, and in the tax year in which you do convert, it's added and considered as part of your end of the year AGI, adjusted gross income. This again is just an example. The AccuMax is a very efficient vehicle for these Roth conversions because, again, and I'll pull it up, the 7-year indexing strategy. Let me actually run that 500,000 without withdrawal real quick once again. But within a conversion model, again, these 7-year terms, these earnings are not being credited until the end of the 7th contract year. Where we see this as being an incredibly efficient conversion model is because of that 7-year index term. If we part 500,000 in an AccuMax 7, and again, this is a hypothetical example, we know for certain that the number we need to convert, conversion amount, is 500,000. In any other vehicle, a traditional brokerage vehicle, a self-directed IRA, where you take conversions on, you're converting holding by holding, share by share. That number fluctuates on a day-by-day basis. That 500,000 conversion could be higher as a byproduct of the market performing positively and crediting you earned interest. You could pay taxes on less than 500,000. That would be a byproduct of the market performing negatively. In the AccuMax, we have certainty. We need to convert 500,000 or whatever we target, whatever that may look like, 500,000 partial conversions. Partial conversions are not withheld by Athene. So at the end of the day, you'll have 500,000 sitting in a Roth account, but the taxes need to be paid. As long as we have the liquidity to pay the out-of-pocket tax expense, then we're able to allow for our entire 500,000 to accumulate on a Roth chassis. We pay, in this given example, 125,000, call it $126,000 in federal taxes, add on the state taxes in Massachusetts, depends on the state. But in this given example, we pay a little over $150,000 in taxes to ensure, and you'll remember this figure, 194.66. So this is drawn from the illustration, 147,302. We are paying, again, $150,000 in taxes to ensure that the over $900,000 in interest that we've just earned on the AccuMax is all tax-free. This 1.473 million is a Roth asset for you at the end of the day. So to recap, the 7-year strategies, although there is a caveat, a con, if you will, within from a distribution lens, the AccuMax is not so strong for accumulation. It is, again, your proverbial park it, let it sit situation. Great for the growth outright, as well as a Roth conversion chassis. Again, the mantra, utility, use, and control of your asset. Putting a Roth conversion strategy or implementing one in your picture with the AccuMax gives us control of this figure. And this is also, again, just want to touch on this briefly. This is, again, another video on our YouTube page that you can look up, our Roth conversion, the segment that I did to go dive deeper into detail about Roth conversions, indications. If you check 3 simple things, or your financial profile checks 3 simple boxes, Roth conversions may be a good idea for you. Go to exclusiveannuities.com, book a chat with William and or myself, and we can get the conversation going, my friends. Is a Roth conversion a sound strategy for you? Do you have excess exposure of qualified funds in your profile? Let's have a conversation. Again, exclusiveannuities.com. Book a chat with William. Book a chat with myself. If you want to chat with both of us simultaneously, go in there, make a booking on either one of our landing pages and comment. Would like to meet with both you and Brady, or would like to meet with both you and William. We are happy to help, eager to get connected. Again, exclusiveannuities.com. Visit our YouTube. We alluded to a couple other videos that we have out there. This one's a great example. Indexed annuity. Are they a fit for you? I know I broadcasted generally that annuities are a fit for virtually anybody in a pre-retirement retirement state. Again, that's a generality. I don't mean 100% of people, but this video will show you why I believe it's a strong consideration for 95% of the population. To wrap up this session, and I appreciate your hanging in there out there. Hope you got a lot of good information. Hope this information helps you in your personal navigation toward a sound retirement plan and strategy. Athene, they sell more indexed annuities than anyone. They were number one last year in the industry in fixed indexed annuity sales because of the product. Today, we went over the AccuMax. They also have the Performance Elite for bonus accumulation purposes. And again, we do have another video pertaining to this product, but they have the Performance Elite again for bonus accumulation opportunities. The Athene Agility, have another video for that. That would be an enhanced death benefit angle. Very neat. Again, if you have mailbox money or money that's lying around, may already be earmarked for the next generation, there are strategies we can utilize with an annuity to garner insurance leverage on those monies without a medical examination. That's on the YouTube. Go check it out. Again, really appreciate everybody hopping on this call tonight. Staying tuned during my long-wind presentation, my dragged out closing here because I couldn't find the key to close the stop screen share. But again, appreciate everybody for taking the time, watching this video. Go to exclusiveannuities.com, book a call with myself, book a strategy review session with William. Go to our YouTube page. If this video, you found it helpful, found it valuable, go check out additional videos. Anything that you may have a question about, or feel free to comment as well. Suggest videos that you feel would be personally helpful to you. Go check us out again, exclusiveannuities.com, YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn. You will find us. Look forward to getting connected soon.